All right, my friends, welcoming you to Chair Yoga today for the care of Waldenstroms and the care of stiff joints. Last week, we had a cardio flow class, and one of you in the after chat asked the question, why do we get stiff as we age? Why am I so stiff all the time? So we talked a little bit about that. That basically, I'll talk about it in this way that one price of a long life is osteoarthritis. That might be a reason for your stiffness. And this can be pretty debilitating and painful for some people. And it's just caused by decades of wear and tear on the joints. I'm going to just read to you a quick quote from one of my favorite authors, Dr. Lauren Fishman, and here's his book, Yoga for Osteoporosis. Really great book, lots of great information. He says, and this really puts it into just a beautiful, beautiful languaging, the inevitable pounding, flexing, and grinding the human body experiences during life have pressured it to evolve many anatomical cushions. But alas, they too inevitably suffer from life's buffeting. The incessant minor traumas add up, damaging the cushioning, apparatus, and eventually the structures they protect, increasing pain and instability and reducing flexibility at only the places we can bend, the joints. But fear not. The very thing that many of these age-related changes like osteoarthritis and stiff muscles and inelastic connective tissue that happens as we age, we dry out. These age-related changes really react positively to activity and the right activity. So for example, if you have osteoarthritis, maybe raise your hand if you know you do. I'm pretty sure anybody over the age of 55 has some osteoarthritis. They might not have symptoms, but they probably have some. So for example, if you have osteoarthritis, those joints may not appreciate a high impact exercise like running, but our bones still need those weight bearing postures for bone density. So this is where yoga comes in. And, yoga can do so many good things for you, but what we'll do today is an all over body sequence. We're going to move every single joint, and we're going to be thinking about what happens when we do that. When we move our joints into these extreme, so we're going to push to the edge, but safe, so we're not going to push through pain or discomfort. When we move to those positions, we bathe the joints in synovial fluid. It's like WD-40, right? It's not only does it lubricate the joints, but it actually and contribute to the mechanics of the joint working, but it contains nutrients needed for the cartilage and also carries away waste. So that synovial fluid is like precious, precious fluid, and the only way to produce circulation of this fluid, right, is joint movement through exercise. So yoga, there's a lot of research that talks about yoga improving flexibility, maintaining healthy spine, and of course, increasing range of motion in our joints. So that's what we're doing here today. We're going to oil the joints up, right? Think of the Tin Man and his oiling can. Oil me. So we're going to go through a whole sequence designed to lubricate the joints and stretch the muscles and connective tissue. So let's get started. And you're going to find a posture a little bit away from the edge of your chair, a little bit away from the back of your chair, sitting towards the edge. So I'm working to stay lifted. I'm going to let my shoulders relax. I might just shrug my shoulders up, back and down. And folks who are here in the live class have typed into the chat where they get stiff. And a lot of them have written in the neck, wrist and knees, right, shoulders, the lower back, shoulder blades. So we're going to work through a whole sequence designed to target those areas. But let's start with a little bit of breathing in this beautiful posture. So I'm sitting up tall. I might close my eyes, and I'm just taking little sips of air in and out. beginning to arrive in whatever state of being I'm in, breathing out. And many of us who experience tightness in the shoulders and the neck may be experiencing that as a result of postural issues, right? So we talk about posture a lot because it is so important for that and for breathing. So if we're able to take a nice deep breath and relax on the way out, we might also help relax the muscles. Breathing is a wonderful way to target stiffness as well, just letting that energy flow in and out. And it also helps to set an intention and have a very specific reason for our classes. So we're hoping to reduce stiffness with this class. So you might envision a river flowing or something that connotes fluidity and movement, ease of movement. And you can keep that kind of going through our whole session today. So opening the eyes if you had them closed. I'm going to bring my hands down at my sides and just begin with some arm sweeps that will help get my shoulders warmed up. I'm breathing in, my palms are facing up. Only go as far as feels safe. Breathing out, palms are facing down. Easy breaths in and out. And I'm just noticing, do I experience any sensation in either shoulder as I do this? And I'm going to be kind to myself. If I am experiencing discomfort or pain, I'm not going to push through it. So I do want to find what is my range of motion today and move within that, breathe within that. And maybe it's just one arm going up. You got it. We'll take one more arm sweep, arms rising, arms coming down, and then I'm going to give myself a hug, one arm on top, maybe the elbows stack, and I'm going to tuck my chin, and the idea here is just to bring some space in the upper back. I'm going to inhale and open my arms out to the sides, push my chest forward, and then exhale, opposite arm on top, another hug as you tuck the chin, taking good care of yourself today. Breathing in, opening wide. So we'll do this a few times, moving at your own pace, opening and giving yourself a hug, opposite arm on top. Feels really good. You can keep doing it. Maybe this is your last one, so just making those decisions also based on your energy level. And then when you're ready, you could bring the hands together at heart center. So this is something we see a lot in yoga. And beyond being an energetic seal, a way that we can modify energy, it actually is a wonderful wrist stretch. If you were to try to drop the hands down as far as possible while retaining that resistance, pressing the palms together, you can sense that there's a stretch there. And then we're going to go all the way up, keeping that nice press and seeing how high you can go. Breathing in. Exhale, bring the hands down as far and as low as you can go, retaining the press and the hands just staying pressed together the whole time. This will be the last one. And then what I'll do is I'll just point my fingertips down away from my body and see how that feels. And I might just do a few little up and down Anjali Mudra, which is one of our gestures in yoga that we use quite a lot. All right, and then I'll interlace my fingers and just give my hands a squeeze. Many of you saying that you care for osteoarthritis or peripheral neuropathy in the hands. I'm squeezing, squeezing, squeezing. That's beautiful. And then I'm just going to see how it would feel to press the hands away. Maybe I kind of loosely flex the first digit of each finger by doing this. And then with the feet anchoring down, the seat anchoring down, I'm going to lift my palms up towards the ceiling. If this feels too much, you can point them downward. And I'm going to try to stretch, keeping my arms straight, almost kissing the ceiling, imaginative kissing of the ceiling, palms to the ceiling and feet to the floor. That's good. And then I'll bring my arms down. That's a big stretch for the shoulders. And grab onto part of my chair. It doesn't matter where. Maybe it's the seat, maybe it's the base. And I'm just going to lift my heart and squeeze my shoulder blades together. Maybe I lift my chin a little bit, but I'm not looking to hurt my neck if I have neck issues. Good. And then I'll just release and let the arms swing for a moment. All right. A couple of wrist circles could feel good, and we'll do more with the wrist in a moment. And then for those of us who want a little routine, you can do, we won't go through the whole thing unless you really want to, but you can move each joint in each finger individually. So for example, you can start with the index finger and just see if the first joint will move towards the hand, and you're doing this with the other hand, seeing if you can flex, and then flex the second joint, and then flex the third joint. So we're moving each finger joint individually. If you can, and if you can't, that's okay. And we're doing it manually, so it's with the other hand that we're seeing how far we can do it. Right? And maybe that's not happening for you, but I know I really feel a lot when I do this. So try this with me, Sigrid. Actually, manually, it looks like you're very dexterous in your fingers. So I can get them into a more extreme range when I do this manually with my other hand. So you see I'm bending that first joint, second joint, and sometimes it gets a little tricky in there. Yeah? Do you see how that works? One joint at a time in each finger. And that kind of blows my mind if you think about how many joints are in each hand, you know, and in the wrist as well. So you might want to continue doing that if that is just a puzzle you want to unlock. Or if you're ready to move on to something else, we can work with the head and neck. So this is not anything that different from what we do in our regular classes, but our intention is to bathe each joint in synovial fluid. So let's tilt the head from side to side. And if you're like me, I always feel a lot of sensation with this, and I feel like I need more. But if you're not feeling, you know, there's a lot of resistance, there's not a lot of tension, and you want to try to feel more, you could grab onto the base of your chair. So you're kind of pulling the shoulders down away from the ears as well as tilting. That could be an addition. Or if you're able to, I'm just going to stand up so you can see, you can reach behind, maybe grab onto that opposite and lean away. And you could do a couple little pulses there. Breathing. Right, I like some of you are holding onto the chairs. Back, right, if you want to switch. Right, and then finally, let's go ahead and just circle the shoulders up, back, and down. And this can actually really help with neck tension. You know, some of you had written in that you feel this in the traps, and those upper back muscles. So they're so big, spreading from the neck down to the upper back, and this can help release tension there. And then if you still need more help with the neck, you can interlace the fingers behind the back of the head, just the base of the skull. And I'm going to push my head into my hands. And then I'm also going to try to relax in between pushes. So the relaxation part is just as important. Pushing back, that effort is there. And then when I release, I'm trying to really relax. And you can do this on every part of the head, right? You can do a forward motion. You can do a side-to-side motion where you're not moving, but you're just pushing. And this is an isometric exercise that's more about the muscles than it is the joints per se. So we can think of improving everything, right? And then I might just take a few circles. And you might notice a snap, crackle, pop there like I do. And that's perfectly natural as we age, right? I remember asking my physical therapist, you know, sometimes I can kind of like crack my back or crack my hip or something. Is that bad? And he gave me a really good way of thinking about this, that if it's like a suction-y pop, it's like a little gas bubble in the synovial fluid popping open, and that's not bad, right? But if it's sort of like crackly, it might be more like cartilage or ligaments. That's not necessarily bad either, but. And then finally, I might rub my hands together. And some of you were in the Reiki webinar. I thought that was fascinating. We did a lot of exercises to sort of improve the flow of energy. And we started with something with the hands, just like we do in every chair yoga class. Creating a warmth in the hands, infusing the hands with maybe some kindness, compassion towards ourselves. And then we can just place the hands anywhere on the body where you're feeling discomfort, tension, stiffness. Or you can also massage. So it could be just laying the hands there, massaging. And I'm not trained in Reiki, so I'm not going to teach you Reiki, although I really loved the drain the pain exercise we did, and I will share the recording in our follow-up email so you can scroll through and find the exercises to do for yourself. And we're talking about maybe doing a monthly Reiki class, self-care Reiki, so that would be kind of cool to add to our offerings. All right. And then finally, for my shoulders, I'm going to bring my right arm straight out, and I'm going to scoop underneath, draw that arm across the body with the left hand, dropping the shoulder low, and taking a couple of easy breaths. Thinking about all that synovial fluid that we just released, bathing into the joints of the upper body. Doing the other side here. You've got that left arm out, guiding it across the body, keeping that shoulder nice and low. Good, and then we release. And I'm just going to do a few little warm-ups of my spine. So I'm arching, and then I might come to neutral, or I might round just a little bit. I'm so glad to hear one of you was telling me that they had an MRI recently, and the spinal doctor gave her a seal of approval. Excellent spine health. And we were talking about how that just might have had something to do with her decades-long yoga practice, keeping the spine in good health over these many years, right? So when we move the spine in all directions, we can give the stimulus to the discs evenly and keep them healthy and vibrant. All right, bringing those arms down at the sides. Let's go ahead and take a sip of water and move to a wider stance. Taking that wider stance, I'm actually going to start with a little toe flexion here. So let me just make this a little bigger. So go ahead and separate the feet, open the knees, and this also will kind of get the hips going, get the hips lubricated. And I'm just going to lift up my toes. I'm sorry, lift up my heels. And so my toes are pressing into the earth. And I'm getting the toes lubricated a little bit, getting the ankles working. Okay, so we're sitting here, wide stance, lifting just the heels, the toes are pressing into the earth. I'll just do a few of these. Good, and then I'll plant my feet down and I'll circle my torso in one direction. And just notice which joints feel this. Do I feel this in my hips? Can I feel this in my sacroiliac joints, the place where the hip meets the spine? Do I feel this in my lumbar spine? Coming back the other direction. Motion is lotion. And then we also tend to really stiffen up in our connective tissue, and not only our muscles, but our connective tissue, coming back to center. So anytime we're doing this beautiful side bending motion, we're really helping those little muscles between the ribs, intercostal muscles that are important part of breathing. So I'll just move from side to side, and then we'll get into actually holding this and working on finding our full range here. So just wanted to get a little bit warmed up before we do that. And while I'm here, I'll bring my arms out to cactus and do a couple little torso twists, thinking about those discs in my spine, getting a nice sort of even squeeze, keeping them healthy, keeping them vibrant. So moving the muscles as well helps increase the fluidity. Good, one more on each side. And then I'll come back and I'm going to see how it would feel to lean over to my right and bring my forearm down on my thigh or rest my hands on my knee. And I'm trying not to collapse forward. I'm trying to keep a nice long spine here. So imagining that from anchoring from your sit bones through the crown of your head. And then I'm going to lift this left arm up and over. And I'm going to try to really stretch and reach as far as feels safe to me. I'm not putting much weight in this right arm. I might even let this right shoulder relax a little bit. And I'm really airing out this left side. And then we'll come back. And I really feel that in my waist as well. So leaning over to the left, maybe it's my forearm, maybe it's my hand, rooting down, and then reaching up with that right arm. Seeing how far I can extend. And you can, if you have shoulder issues, you can rest the hand on the hip and still do this. And that's a really big stretch and will help all the connective tissue and the muscles in the ribs and the lower back and even the hip flexors. All right, so let's walk our feet back. And I'm going to turn to the side for this. So some of you here have had knee replacements, and you were probably given this exercise. It's called a heel slide. So what I'm going to do is, and this is good for the knees. So this is typically where most people start to experience osteoarthritis, is in the knees. It's our largest joint in the body. So I'm going to start with my knees bent and my feet on the earth, and I'm sitting up away from my chair. And I'm just going to extend the right leg and keep my heel on the ground. I'm at the edge of my chair. I'm holding on to my chair. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to keep this leg extended and lift it up until my thighs are parallel. And then I'll bend my leg, keeping the thighs parallel, and place the foot back down. So let's try that on the other side. I'm going to stretch my left heel out. Keeping this leg straight, I'll lift the leg up. And I'm gazing down at my own leg as I do this. So I'm tracking my alignment here. So right heel resting, and my leg stays straight as I lift my leg up, parallel to my other thigh, and then keeping that parallel, bending and placing the foot back down. So you can do this at your own pace, switching sides. Heel starts on the earth, we're straight, we're parallel, and then we bend. So you can really feel the whole leg, even the hip is getting this benefit from this. And we might do maybe one more on each side. Good. All right. Now time to stand up. If that is something that you feel you're up to today, if you're caring for low energy and you want to stay seated, that's an option. But I'm just going to walk it out a little bit and maybe take a sip of water. And we're here to move our joints today, right? The only way that we're going to get that synovial fluid bathing the joint, which in turn nourishes the cartilage, is through movement. That's what these joints were designed to do. So I'm just walking in place, opposite arm, opposite leg. And then I'll stop and take a wide stance, hands to the hips, taking some circles of my hips, forward and back. It could be a small circle, it could be a big circle. And maybe you feel this in your low back, so staying safe there. Coming back the other direction, as far as feels good to you. And then while I'm here, I'll let my arms just dangle by my sides for a moment. Feel that space in the shoulder joints. So I'm just going to let my arms completely relax. No effort in the arms. I've got a wide stance. My legs are engaged, right? And I'm just going to swing from side to side. I'm going to swing my upper body, and the arms just hang. I'm going to keep my gaze forward. And I hope we'll be doing this tomorrow in Tai Chi. This is something that Rami taught us, although he has us tapping certain organs on the body, and I'm just not going to go there right now. I'm just focusing on the swing from side to side, feeling everything loosen up in my arms, my shoulders. And then if you would like to, you can do another set of side bends. As I reach that right arm up, that left arm is going to be really loose and dangly. And you can Feel the stretch from the blade edge of that foot on the right side to the right fingertips. And other side, that right arm is relaxing as we're extending, reaching, lifting. And yeah, you can always go back to that nice little swing. That's beautiful, Sharon. Okay. So I wanted to give you a really beautiful stretch. We often get tight in right here in the pectoralis muscle, and it's kind of part of this whole rounding thing. We get really constricted and tight, and this exercise was given to me by my physical therapist, and I also see it's in Dr. Fishman's book. So a lot of the things we're doing today are in the book that I just quoted from. I'm going to find a wall. So find a wall, and what I'm going to do is stand at the wall and place my hands palm on the wall about shoulder height, if that would feel okay for you. So I'm just pressing my hands, stop, into the wall. And you might already just feel a little bit of a stretch in the shoulder and the pectoralis muscle. If you want to continue and create more sensation, you can kind of walk to the right a little bit. So turn your body to the right, away from the arm. And I'm getting a big stretch on the right side of my body. And I'm just going to take a couple of breaths here. You got it, Beverly. And I don't have to turn my head. I can keep my head straight forward. And then I'm going to release and do the other side. So I'm going to press my left hand into a wall. And then I just turn my body, walking away, turning my body away from that hand till I feel the amount of sensation that feels right for me in the upper left pectoralis, shoulder, that whole area. And oh my goodness, every time I do this, I think, wow, I was really tight there. Let's do one more on each side, if it feels okay to you, right? So starting again with that right hand, pressing into the wall, and just turning your body away from that hand ever so slightly. A lot of sensation here. Breathing through that. And then go ahead and switch sides. Left arm, left hand planting. Turning away slightly. We're keeping that arm straight, or maybe you're doing something else to care for your neck or your shoulders or your body right now, if this doesn't feel right to you. Okay, big stretch. And then let's go ahead and I'm going to see if I could interlace my fingers behind my back or grab the wrist. And I'm looking to pull my arms up away from the back of my body. We can also do this with a strap between the hands if this is not working for you right now. Looking to maybe straighten my arms, maybe not. All right, maybe one more. And then I have an option here. I can either go to my wall again, or I can go to my chair. And I'm going to do a little down dog against the wall today, just for something different. So I place both hands maybe a little lower than shoulder height, and I walk my feet away. And I fold it at the waist, keeping my back flat, getting a big stretch to the back of the legs, and a big stretch to the shoulders as well. So you can do this on a countertop, you can do this on a chair, you can do this on the wall. And then when you're ready, come on up. Maybe take a couple of wrist stretches. And we'll just move through. Let's do a lunge instead of a warrior one today. So I'm going to step my right foot forward. You can do this at the back of a chair. I've got my right foot forward and And I'm going to step this left foot back and see if I could lift the heel up off the earth. So I'm getting a big toe stretch here. In fact, I might try pushing off the earth with my toes a few times if that feels okay for you. And then I'll stay here and squeeze my left glute muscle. Maybe the heel's lifted, maybe you've got to put the foot down, whatever feels best for you. All 10 toes are facing the same direction. And this is what I'm looking for, a nice lunge for my hip. Squeezing that left glute muscle. And maybe you feel safe taking the hands to heart center, or you want to do some arm salutes, whatever feels good here. Finding my breath, feeling that strength. Wonderful. And then I'm stepping my feet a little closer. I still have my right foot forward, so I'm still on the right side. My stance is just a little bit shorter, and my legs, both legs will be straight. Both legs are straight. I'm just going to take a little bow and maybe bring my forearms onto the back of my chair. Or maybe I'm up a little higher. So you decide what feels good to you. Looking for a stretch to the back of my right leg. I could tuck my chin and maybe protect my neck there a little bit. And I'm just finding my breath. You got it. And then we'll go ahead and come on up and switch sides. So I've got my left foot forward and my right foot back. All 10 toes are pointing forward, unlike our warrior one. And I've got a nice wide base. And I might try to push from the toe, lifting my heel up a few times, a few little pulses here, and that might feel like a lot on the toes and foot. You've got it, Betty Ann. Beautiful. And then I'll stay somewhat lifted and sink into my lunge. So I'm squeezing that right glute muscle. And I'm imagining putting my hip joint into this extreme but safe position can help me access that full range of motion, bathing that right hip joint and the left hip joint in synovial fluid, right? That life-giving substance we need for the best health, best joint health. Maybe the hands come to heart center. Maybe you keep the hands on the chair, whatever feels good. You got it, beautiful. And we're coming out of it, switching to the second pose. So I've got a nice short stance, both legs are straight, and I'm gonna take a bow. And maybe the hands, the forearms come to the back of the chair. If you've got farther to travel, the fingertips could come onto the seat of the chair. My back stays somewhat flat here, tucking my chin. And then we'll come up nice and slow. And let's go ahead and take one more down dog, and then we'll sit and we'll wind down. So option to do your down dog at the wall or on your chair. Either way works. Good. And then let's all come up. And I'm going to practice a chair pose on the way to my seated posture. So I'm going to walk back so I can feel the chair behind me. I'm going to make sure that chair is not going to go anywhere or move. I'm going to start down into the chair, bending my hips back, pulling my core towards my back. Slowly, slowly, ever so slowly coming to sit, making sure the chair is there with my hand. You got it. And I'm coming to sit. I'm at the edge of my chair. I'm going to take a nice wide stance, and I'm just going to drift my bent knees from side to side. So this could be our version of, very nice, Carol, our version of a windshield wiper. That you could also do this in a reclining pose with the knees bent, and that feels really good. And you can really feel that lubrication and that oiling of things happening with this. Then I might explore bringing the soles of my feet towards each other and the knees out to the sides. And we're doing like a chair version of a bound angle or butterfly pose, cobbler's pose. And I might just sort of flap my butterfly wings a little bit here. And then we'll close with a hip stretch and a twist. So let's go ahead and cross that right ankle over the left knee. If that feels okay for you, modify if it doesn't. I'm going to just give my lower limb a little massage, the foot a little massage. And just like we did with the fingers, you can manually move the toes around, moving each joint, bathing each joint. And then when you're ready, you can move into the stretch. So I'll just lean forward a little bit and I'll feel a lot of sensation breathing here. And then we can sit up, cross that knee over, and we'll do a little rotation of the spine. So I'm twisting to the right, using my hands to support my twist, using my muscles to put a little pressure on the spine, even pressure on each disc, and then coming back to center, imagining those discs just saying, thank you for the motion. Thank you for the fluid. Crossing that left ankle over the right knee. Maybe you want to massage the lower limb. Hello, Marty's friend. Very cute. And then I'll move into my stretch. So I'm leaning forward just a little bit. I can soften my shoulders. I can maybe tuck my chin. So we didn't do chin tucks, but those are something that I would definitely add to your repertoire if you have neck pain. So we're often jutting the chin forward in our posture, and that can really put a lot of strain on the back of the neck. Good. Sitting up tall, crossing the knee over, and moving towards your twist to the left. Nice even pressure on the spine here, very gentle. Just peeking over that left shoulder. We're getting a little bit of neck rotation as well. And then we'll slowly unfurl back to center. Take a big stretch. Show me how big you can stretch. And we'll close our session with a little bit of breathing together. So hoping that you can just stay just a moment longer with your feet on the earth, your seat in the chair. Perhaps you can close the eyes or soften the gaze and imagine all of the joints in the body, feeling all of the joints in the body puffed up with liquid, with health, with vitality. And inviting you to soften the belly for a moment. Soften the belly, let the belly be full as we take some deeper, fuller breaths, breathing into the nose, out through the nose or mouth. And when I'm ready, I'll take my hands to heart center, taking this fluidity with me into the rest of my day or my evening. We can close our session today with the sound of 1 Om and 3 Shantis. Shanti means peace. You're welcome to listen or join, whatever feels good. Breathing in. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And thanking you so much for your practice, my friends. Take good care until we meet again.